Hello. CASC has kindly invited Mothers Union to speak to you today about gender-based violence, more commonly thought of as domestic abuse. My name is June Butler and I'm currently privileged to be the All-Ireland Mothers Union President. I've been involved, however, locally and throughout Britain and Ireland over the past 7 years with Mothers Union's campaigns to heighten awareness about gender-based violence and to help abused women. My colleague Jackie Armstrong, who leads on this project for Mothers Union in Ireland, will give you much more information as we proceed and also suggest some ways in which you, fellow members of Synod, each of you can recognise where domestic abuse is happening, how to respond, how you can help in practical ways those who have been abused, and how clergy, parishioners and churches can become resources to work for positive change in this dreadful aspect of our society. Domestic abuse is the most insidious crime in Ireland today. It can be subtle, devious, crafty, explosive, and sadly, on occasions, deadly. Such is the fear and destruction engendered by domestic abuse that in these COVID times, the United Nations has termed it the shadow pandemic. Mothers Union strives for a world where God's love is shown through loving and respectful relationships. We are mindful of the words in verse 35 of chapter 13 of John's Gospel. In showing love and unselfish concern for one another, the world knows we are Christ's disciples. With 4 million members in 84 countries worldwide, Mothers Union is the largest women's grassroots organisation in the Anglican Communion. And in 2014, we committed to joining together with one voice to raise awareness of and call for an end to gender-based violence in all forms and in all societies across the Anglican Communion. In Ireland, Mothers Union has worked tirelessly to highlight and eliminate the scourge of domestic abuse. Through our efforts, domestic abuse services are now supported in all 12 dioceses. Governments have been lobbied for policy change and judicial reform. Domestic abuse is now a crime in both jurisdictions. And we have undertaken initiatives and prepared resources to highlight domestic abuse. Some of our efforts include prayer vigil events held annually across Ireland during the 16 days of activism period. That begins on the 25th of November, and the United Nations has deemed that day the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. We publish a 16 days prayer diary. We provide practical support for refugees, providing clothing and bedding, towels, children's toys, and even food. We try to educate our teenagers by leading secondary school workshops and assemblies. And we wear black on Thursdays in support of the World Council of Churches initiative, Thursdays in Black. Before I pass you over to Jackie, we're going to show you a short video which has been sponsored by the Australian Diocese of Melbourne. That diocese is trailblazing in the work it has done in this field, and this short clip will, I hope, touch your hearts, enable you to understand some of the complexities of domestic abuse and its effect on children, and make you all realise that we have to do something, and now. This video is called "It is Time to Act on Our Watch." Thank you.
When I grow up, I want to be a pilot. When I grow up, I want to be a scientist. I want to be an artist. When I grow up, I want to be an architect. Police, lawyer, astrophysicist, firefighter. I want to be a nurse. And maybe a pilot or something. When I grow up, I want to be a nun. When I grow up, my husband tells me what to do. When I grow up, my wife puts me first. I won't be seen or heard.
When I grow up, I want to tell her who to be friends with.
I'll beat my wife when she offends me. When I grow up, I'm going to end up in hospital because my husband hit me.
This is the dream of No Child Ever.
1 in 6 Australian women have experienced physical or sexual violence from a current or former partner.
1 in 5 Australian women has experienced sexual violence.
That means each of us knows one of these women.
I know one of these women. Me.
No child enters this world dreaming of committing violence.
No man wakes up one morning and out of the blue murders his partner.
The long road to family violence starts with the belief that women are possessions, not equals.
Most men are not violent, but the vast majority of acts of domestic and sexual violence are perpetrated by men against women.
Our beliefs about the way boys and girls, women and men are supposed to act are formed in childhood.
Around the world, gender stereotypes and unequal power between men and women are the most important underlying causes of family violence.
We can stop this before it starts.
By saying no to attitudes, stereotypes and behaviours that support gender inequality and violence.
We can help boys create more positive and healthier ways of being men.
We've come a long way since the 70s. Violence against women is on the national political agenda, and there's great work going on in our communities.
But still, 1 woman is killed nearly every week by a male partner or ex-partner.
The murder of children usually occurs in the context of family violence.
Extreme violence often occurs when the woman tries to leave the relationship.
And those who don't leave live with countless acts of violence every day.
This can't happen. Not on our watch.
Not on our watch.
Not on our watch.
Our watch will challenge the attitudes, behaviours, social norms and practices that underpin and create violence against women and their children.
We will engage the community, educate, raise public awareness.
And keep violence against women and their children on the national agenda.
Until life is better for all.
You can help us.
It's the responsibility of all of us.
Challenge stereotypes.
Call out sexist attitudes.
Speak out if you hear excuses for violence or victim blaming.
Spread the word that violence is never an option or a solution.
And there is no excuse.
Acknowledge respect and equality when you see it.
Celebrate our role models.
It's up to you.
It's up to me.
It's up to us.
Because we can create this world.
When I grow up, I want to be proud of who I am.
I want to be friends with everybody.
When I grow up, I want to change the world. When I grow up, I want to be me. I want to be me. I want to be me. I want to be a superhero. When I grow up, I want everyone to be happy. We deserve to be equal. When I grow up, I want to be safe. I want to be safe. When I grow up, I want to be safe.
Together we can work to end violence against women and children.
It is time to stand up, to speak out, to take action on our watch.
It's time to act on our watch.
Indeed, it is time to act on our watch. Let's take a short look at domestic abuse in context. Domestic abuse can include, but is not limited to, psychological and/or emotional abuse, spiritual abuse, physical or sexual abuse, financial or economic abuse, harassment and stalking, online or digital abuse, and coercive control. This is where an abuser uses a pattern of behaviour over time to exert power and control and is now in itself a criminal offence. Wherever abuse occurs, it has a deeply damaging impact on those who experience it. It is important to remember that domestic abuse is never the fault of the survivor. Domestic abuse is intentional, as abusers have a choice. It is directional, as an abuser chooses its victims, and it is incremental, as an abuser will increase the level of harm they inflict over time. So it is vital that our understanding leads us to respond in a safe, compassionate, appropriate manner. In Ireland, it is estimated that 1 in 5 women, 1 in 7 men, and all of their children experience domestic abuse. And did you know the PSNI respond to a call relating to domestic abuse every 17 minutes? In 2020, the incidence of domestic abuse surged, with services across Ireland receiving a 70% increase in visits to their websites. Since records began, over 236 women have died violently in Ireland, with 18 children dying alongside their mothers. On average, 1 woman a month is killed in Ireland, and 1 in 2 of those women were killed by a partner or ex-partner, whereas 1 in 20 men were killed by a partner, former partner or family member. In 2020, research conducted with 18 to 25-year-olds found that 1 in 5 women and 1 in 11 young men had already experienced some form of intimate relationship abuse. Domestic abuse exists in every group in Irish society. Even the church is not immune. In fact, it can add extra layers of complexity to the issue. In 2018, 2 separate church-related research studies undertaken in the UK and Ireland show that churches rarely speak to the issue of domestic abuse. Most churchgoers had never heard a sermon on the topic or felt that their church was adequately equipped to deal with a disclosure of domestic abuse. In Ireland, 1 in 7 respondents had actually experienced domestic abuse, and both studies significantly revealed that almost 1/3 to 1/4 of people within our churches are affected in some way by domestic violence. We have an opportunity to change this story. We are challenged by our faith to tackle unjust structures in society. If we are to act on our watch, our church communities need to be safe spaces for all. So how can we act on our watch? In a crisis, the survivor's safety is paramount, and realistically, the most valuable assistance we can give at that time will be to listen, to believe, to be non-judgmental, and to know how to signpost to practical advice and support. Therefore, our relationship with domestic abuse providers must walk hand in hand with spiritual support offered to victims. If a victim of domestic abuse were to approach you today, would you know how to respond? Would you know where to signpost towards help? May we encourage you to take away from this presentation some simple steps to support and inform in your parish community. 2 simple immediate actions to start. Organise a poster in your church toilets so survivors of domestic abuse know where they can locally receive help. Please note the suggested positioning. This poster needs to be in a private place where a survivor can safely take note of the details. Developing a relationship with your nearest refuge will keep you in touch with their immediate needs, and basic necessities such as vouchers for supermarkets, fuel, taxi, etc. can be supplied as required. This can be encouraged as a whole parish intergenerational activity. By contacting your diocesan president, you can support the Mothers Union's 16 days of activism and find out what is happening in your diocese. Join in our Global Day of Action on Saturday the 27th of November, and during the 16 days, let's open up and speak out about domestic abuse, invite a specialised speaker, include prayers, etc. Your support will open a door to awareness and understanding. Our 16 Days Prayer Diary highlights gender-based violence, domestic abuse, theology, together with the supports available across the Church of Ireland. It contains input from Protestant Aid, the Marriage Council, Bishop's Appeal, GFS, Mothers Union, CASC, Tear Fund and Christian Aid. It was funded by the Board for Mission and the Priorities Fund. Thanks to a recent grant from TBF and KL Thompson Trust, this insightful diary journey is available to every parish in 2021. May its use be an agent of prayer and transformation. Knowledge is power. Do you wish to become better informed? Mothers Union have teamed up with Bishop's Appeal and Tear Fund to create an exciting Irish resource. This 5-part course introduces the topic of gender-based violence with particular reference to domestic abuse within the broader context of gender justice. It aims to inspire and equip those who are interested in understanding more and in taking strategic action, but wish to increase their knowledge and to feel that they have supports and direction. Look out for its launch in time for Lent 2022. You will not be disappointed. Restored is a charity who work closely with churches in their response to domestic abuse. They have an excellent church pack. One of their practical suggestions is the creation of a domestic abuse charter, which indicates that we are a safe church, we understand, and we seek a better way forward. They also run courses to support individuals, clergy and church communities. In Northern Ireland, there is an opportunity to receive Safe Church status through ONUS NI training. Cast your mind back to 2018 and General Synod in Armagh. There you may have visited the Mothers Union Soles of Our Shoes exhibition. Each pair of shoes accompanied by a voice that has walked away from abuse. This exhibition in its simplicity is powerful and engaging, lifting the lid and giving an insight into the depth and breadth of the effects of domestic abuse. It is available on loan from Mothers Union. Finally, in 2019, Mothers Union took on the World Council of Churches initiative Thursdays in Black towards a world without rape and violence. Wearing black on Thursdays together with a Thursdays in Black badge is a simple gesture, a talking point, something we can collectively undertake and an effective means of highlighting abuse in our communities. For the wearer, it is a powerful weekly reminder to pray, to respond and to act. This short clip places the Thursdays in Black initiative in context.
It's Thursday in Black.
One in 3 women today experience physical or sexual violence.
More than 8 out of 10 girls experience street harassment before they are 17.
1 in 4 children under the age of 5 live in a household experiencing domestic violence.
Millions of women and men, boys and girls in every country, every community, every sector suffer rape, abuse, violence.
But this is not about victims.
This is about resistance.
Resilience.
Solidarity.
Thursdays in Black.
Join the global movement for a world without rape and violence.
Thursdays in Black, one more way in which we can exercise our power to act on our watch. The church is in every neighbourhood, every town and village. We carry influence in and outside of our walls. The real power of love is how we treat each other. Our challenge is to inspire and equip, to change the story for women and girls, and to end all forms of domestic abuse. As long as love hurts, it is time to act on our watch, and not just with words and speech, but with actions and in truth. Thank you for your interest and your attention. I now hand you back to Bishop Ken.